Okay. Uh, 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 uh. Mm. Okay. Okay. No. Hello. Oh, I actually own more pillows. They're just my pillowcases are in the wash. So, yeah, there are two more that aren't on the bed currently, but the pillowcases have to dry. They're in the dryer, not the wash. And then yeah. Okay, but anywho, we're back, baby. And there's more. Buck naked in another world. Oh shoot, there goes the bookmark. Dang nabbit. All right. So, previously on oh, previously, last time we read Buck Naked in Another World. Is my audio working? Perfect. Um, Shooter, a 32-year-old college dropout who has a bunch of part-time jobs, was somehow transported to another world where he inevitably, as the title implies, wound up buck naked. In this new world, he struggles to chop wood because that's obviously a struggle. Not the chopping the wood; it's the mechanics behind it he can't figure out. But anywho, after learning how to chop wood, he then learns how to muck a farm, and then after that, he levels up in this new fantasy world that he is buck naked in, and becomes their resident archer guy who acquires the meat. I think that's called. Oh, what's that? It's called not an archer. Hunter. He becomes a hunter, and yeah, he also because he's leveled up in this society after chopping wood and mucking farms, has acquired himself a girlfriend. Or I'm sorry, not a girlfriend, a wife. He's now married. So that was a summary of the prologue of Buck Naked in Another World, aka the worst piece of literature I've ever forced myself to read. Maybe not the worst, but it's definitely up there. It's definitely up there. Chapter 1. I wonder if my wife isn't warming up to me because I'm naked. And for those of you who weren't with us last time, the chapters all begin with this lovely picture, which is the pinnacle of graphic design. If you can't see it, the chapter and the one are the nipples, and the title is placed in abs. Very classy, very modern. I gotta give it 10 out of 10 stars for that. Hey everyone, Yoshida Shooter here at the old Hunter Shack. Oh yeah, feel free to call me Shooter if you want. My new wife, Cassandra, just handed me her late father's clothes, probably because I've been running around in the buff since Camille sliced off my loincloth. Hey, I'd take anything at that point, including a fur vest. Just a fur vest. Cassandra, did your dad wear pants? I sold them to scrape by. All I have now are his vests. 3 fur vests, to be precise. I wore one and stuffed the others into a small wicker chest of drawers. She wasn't joking. There were no pants. Convenient. Very convenient. Well, nothing I could do about it. Might as well wear what I got and show off my interdimensional junk to the whole world. I was kind of bummed out not to have any underwear, so I took an old raggedy hand towel and tied it around my waist for a makeshift loincloth. The end result? Depressing. The hand towel was in even worse condition than my old loincloth, and it was so short there was barely any point to wearing it at all. Okay, so I don't know if the hand towels in this world are just bigger than the ones that I've interacted with, but one second. All right. For benefit of the doubt and scientific purposes, I grabbed 3 different hand towels, actually 5. And so you're telling me that this gentleman managed to get one of these around his waist. All right, I am not a large person. I'm a very small person, and you're telling me that a grown man. What? No, that's. Ugh. There is no way in hell this dude got a hand towel. Like, maybe if you got a rope, maybe, I don't know. But, I guess if he had a rope, he could do this. But there's no way to, like, tie this around yourself. Because, like, I don't think, no. No, I'm, something's off here. Something is off. Something is wrong. Something's off here. Something is off. Something is wrong. Anywho. The hand towel was in even worse condition than my old loincloth, and it was so short that there was barely any point to wearing it at all. How's it look on me? I asked Cassandra, strutting my stuff like a hobo supermodel. It looks incredible, she said while averting her eyes. It does, huh? I'm sure my father would be proud. Thanks, I'm happy to hear it. Very polite, super sweet, absolutely a lie. This wouldn't look good on anybody. Still, I tried giving a short bow to show my appreciation. But the towel was too short. The ratty thing came undone and out came the goods. Okay, so he tied the towel around himself. There's no rope. There's no... Maybe hand towels are larger in this universe, but holy moly. These aren't your mom's hand towels, that's for sure. The ratty thing came undone, and out came the goods. Well, I stammered, the village chief's calling for me, so I have to get going. Be careful. With my new wife's half-hearted farewell, I left our house on the edge of the village. On our first night together as newlyweds, we didn't do so much as hold hands. Well, duh, you're 32, she's like 15 if I recall correctly. We slept in separate beds. Good. We slept in separate beds, the one that was hers and the bed that used to be her father's. Cassandra was afraid of me. She curled up in her bed with her back turned to me, and all I did was lie alone in my own bed, sulking. On the first night of my marriage, very romantic, was the next step a child? I hate this book so much. Now that brought some weird thoughts. Having a kid with a pretty girl like her, I bet she could see those thoughts too, with me wearing such a small, ratty loincloth. Ugh, no wonder she was freaked out by me. The next morning, a goblin named Wakuro waited for me outside. I couldn't see a difference between him and Naniwa, the woodcutter, but apparently they weren't even related or anything. The village chief prepared everything you need for hunting, he said. Thanks. Glad to hear it. I heard you were a warrior before coming here. They say hunting's just another part of warrior training, so it must be your specialty, right? I'm looking forward to seeing your technique. I've gone hunting before, but I wouldn't exactly call it my specialty. But your name's Shooter. That means you have to know how to use a bow. I might be uneducated, but even I know that. Out of all the villagers, Wawakuro was the nicest one I'd met. He kept the conversation going on the way to the village chief's manor. Cassandra's a good girl, he said. She's been through a lot since her father passed away last winter, but she's got you now. About time some good news came her way. That's not really good news, but okay. Yeah, I guess so. Come on now, any man worth his salt knows how to be a good family man. Get your act together, he shouted and punctuated it with a smack to my bare ass. Shooter Jr. bounced back and forth between my thighs. Jesus fucking Christ. Whoa! A family man. As a 30-something-year-old hopping from part-time job to part-time job, I never even really thought about marriage. Hell, I hadn't even thought about dating anyone. After dropping out of college and getting disowned, I stayed with one of my old karate teachers in Okinawa. Their house had a dojo that I slept in, and in exchange, I was sort of an assistant karate teacher. I couldn't afford to feed myself with just that, though, so I did all sorts of jobs. Plumbing, making fireworks, whatever I could get. That left me no time to think about dating and relationships. Any man would try to seek out some way to satisfy his more carnal desires every once in a while, but not me. I'm not like other guys. It was a religious thing. I mean, well, kind of. Well, not really. It wasn't that I offered my chastity to a god of martial arts or anything, but more that I was a religious scholar attending the seminary school of hardcore hentai. Let me make sure I read that correctly. It wasn't that I had offered my chastity to the god of martial arts or anything, but more that I was a religious scholar attending the seminary school of hardcore hentai. Okay, we're just gonna let it go, okay. Poor mags or something else. Just one glance and bang, your heart's pounding. The only problem was that my karate teacher's high schooler granddaughter found my stash, told everybody, and got the sacred text tossed to the curb. Which is stupid, by the way. I mean, I was keeping an adult stuff. I'm sorry. I mean, I was an adult keeping my stuff in a private place under the bed. So what did it matter? That was reasonable. My get up now for a vest, a raggedy dick wrap, was a wee bit more objectionable. Anyway, Wawakaru continued, can't you at least put some clothes on? I've got just fur vests in the house, I said with a sigh, a quick self-conscious cross, and a I've just got fur vests in the new house, I said with a sigh and a quick self-conscious crotch cover. Oh, that's so. Then I'll let you have one of my loincloths later. I've been wearing it for pajamas at night, but it's better than having nothing at all. Thanks, man. How old are you, come to think of it? Me? I just turned 32. 32? You sure don't look it. I took you for more of a youngster, but I guess you just look way young for your age. Weird thing to say, but I'd take it. Thanks, I get that a lot, I lied, stroking the stubble on my face. I hadn't been able to shave since I got to this world. Funny, I wonder if you're about the age Cassandra... Oh, God. Funny, I wonder if you're about the age Cassandra's father was. How old is Cassandra going to be this year? I think about 16 or 17, something like that. Yikes! Is this a crime? I thought to myself. I feel like this is a crime. Oh God, I'm dad age here. I'm Cassandra dad age. That's not great. Well, you humans live longer than us goblins, so I don't think it's anything you need to worry about. It's not that strange to see some big age differences between husbands and wives for you guys. You sure? I am. The village chief is going to be 31 this year, but she was 19 when she got married to the old chief. Guy was a grandpa pushing 50. And the current village chief was the old one's second wife, I hear. Yeah, she came here from another village. She's infertile, sorry to say, and that was her second marriage, too. That's rough. I suppose the old village chief married her to someone would be there to look after his son. She really was a looker, so the whole thing seemed like such a shame. It hit me then that, given her age, she might be closer to being a big sister to Gamul rather than a mother. An unrelated by blood and very pretty big sister that turned Big Head Gamul into a meat mess? How earth-shakingly unshocking. The meathead had the hots for stepmommy. The meathead had the hots for stepmommy. Why did it make me read that? Oh my God. But what I told you is our secret, okay? Natch, I got it, Wawakaru. There had to be a trick to getting the pronunciation right on these goblins. It was driving me wacky. By the time we reached the village chief's place, she was already waiting outside for us. You will be a hunter starting today, the village chief proclaimed lording over me as I prostrated myself before her. As such, you shall be provided with the tools to fulfill that work. These tools have only been bestowed upon you because I have recognized you as a member of our village. You are never to use them against another person. Deepest of thanks. I understand and obey. I was catching on to all that bowing, scraping, and groveling. The civilization in this world seemed to be around our Middle Ages or so, maybe even before that. It looked like a renaissance hadn't occurred yet, with sprawling rural countryside as far as the eye could see. The difference between this world and my old one was that my Dark Ages didn't have forks. These ones were shaped differently than the forks I remembered, though, with just two prongs, more like skewers than forks, you could say. Anyway, in this primitive world, my hunting gear was a spear and a bow. I'd like one of my ancestors in those old Japanese... I'd be like one of my ancestors in those old Japanese hunter-gatherer communities, wounding prey with bows and arrows before finishing them off with spears. Besides the weapons, I also received a leather pouch and a pair of boots. I was rocking it barefoot again. Just asking to ruin my feet somehow. Those boots were going to be a lightsaber. From today onward, you'll be working under Wawakaru and the other hunters. After you learn the lay of the land, you'll begin hunting on your own, and you'll earn a proper share as a hunter of our village. She said hunter like 3 times in 2 sentences. Not the greatest rating. Understood. I'll be the best hunter I can, for the sake of my wife and for you too. Good. Get to it, Shooter. Yes, ma'am, I said and bowed just an inch lower. I donned my new hunting gear but behind the village chief's manor, making sure to get my feet a quick scrub before slipping on those boots. They gave me socks to go along with them, but there was a strange gap between the big toe and the rest, sort of like traditional Japanese socks. There was no stretch to the material either. So you're telling me in a primitive world, I'm not gonna question it. I'm just gonna keep reading. There was no stretch to the material either. When I worked as a walking... Oh my god, I completely forgot that he had all these stupid part-time jobs. When I worked as a walking instructor, I learned that socks were sort of an extension of the skin on your feet. See, the more you change your socks, the less wear and tear it puts on the soles of your feet. I didn't know if the village chief understood that as well, but I couldn't have been more thankful for the 10 pairs of socks she gave me. I slipped my high-laced boots over my brand new socks, feeling fancy. Boots were supposed to be a high-value commodity here after all, with people replacing the soles of their boots they could be used for years to come. Around my waist, the hunter's pouch hung from my belt, and under the belt, I tucked my old raggedy hand towel to prevent chafing. The pouch itself was filled with a canteen of water, some hard rye bread, and 2 dried-out pieces of cheese, all prepared by the girl working at the village chief's place. On my back, I wore my bow with a full quiver of 15 arrows. The shape of the quiver meant it would probably be used in a variety of different ways. But we'll get to that later. Finally, I carried a spear, which doubled as a walking stick as well as a small machete for cutting through thick foliage. Spear, walking stick, machete. You could have said knife. You could have said knife. I'm gonna continue. It was dangerous to carry it around with the blade exposed, so I kept it in a leather sheath. Hey, look at you, Wawakaru exclaimed, finally looking like a proper hunter. I mean, I am one starting today, so I'd hope so, I said with a smile. Except most hunters cover it up a bit more, he said with a cackle. I was letting it all hang out, as usual. Being naked didn't seem to matter as much here as it did back in my old world. Other people wouldn't so much as flinch at the sight of my dangly little dude. Sure, my new wife Cassandra and the girl at the village chief's manor would look away, but they must have just been embarrassed because they weren't mature enough to handle it. Yeah, that had to be it. Shooter, said Wawakaru, you just gotta trade any extra prey you take out to get yourself some clothes. Oh yeah, of course. Just because I'm wearing this doesn't mean I'm not civilized. I'm embarrassed. Who wouldn't be? You know, sometimes I just don't get what you're saying. With Wawakaru as a guide, we made our way to the forest. The other villagers only stared at us in silence. No one said a word. Everyone seems to be giving us a pretty wide berth, I noticed. No hellos, no good lucks. We're hunters, he said sadly. They hate hunters in this village, and always have. They just kept staring at us. Now, I just wanted to look away. Okay, Oh, okay. Hunters know their own hunting grounds. The places get etched into their souls. My uncle wasn't just an expert duck hunter. He also knew every nook and cranny of his ground, knew the tiniest detail about his prey. The same went for his hunting dogs. They were all thoroughly trained, and every one of them could navigate the roughest terrain in pursuit of prey. Whenever my uncle went to a new hunting ground with his friends, he'd have a local hunter show him around, treating him like an honored guest in an unfamiliar territory. A hunter is the master of his grounds, the king of his wilds. My prior hunting grounds happened to be a little more computerized. But it was a video game about hunting monsters, you see, so doing the same thing in this world seemed like a perfect match. Wyverns, they were nothing to me. I mean, in video games. Wawakaru and I made our way through the lighter woods to the east of the village until we pushed our way into a darker, more foreboding forest. The locals call this place Ape Gut Forest, said Wawakaru. Ape Gut? Mm-hmm. Apparently they called it that because they found the guts of some giant ape around here. Oh, so this world had gorillas now. Or maybe they were talking yetis, a Bigfoot, or some other relative to the great apes. How do a bunch of ape intestines get slathered everywhere? Does that mean someone killed it, ate it, and just flung pieces all over the place? Probably something like that, he said, sighing through his hooked nose. There's a wyvern nest. There's a weir, wi- there's a wyvern nest located deeper in the forest, and that's what Cassandra's father died facing. That's the one. But Shooter, listen up. Yeah. Don't try going all gung ho on me here. I don't care what they call you. Any hunter just setting foot in this forest wouldn't be able to take one down. Not now. All of his humor, all of his friendliness had given way to seriousness. Of course, I'm only a part-time warrior. Just like you said, I've got it. I just got here. I'll be listening to everything you say until I've got a better grip on our hunting grounds. I didn't even know what a wyvern looked like, and I didn't care to find out. As a matter of fact, every moment spent not in the presence of a wyvern seemed like a teensy victory. My video game wyverns were huge, flying dragon things. What kind of idiot would try hunting that down with a dinky bow and arrow? Even a rifle seemed barely adequate. Good to hear. Our target is something else. Got it. So, what's your specialty when it comes to hunting? You hear the word hunter as a blanket term, but anyone who hunts animals has their own area of expertise. Whether that be birds, deer, wild goats, foxes, rabbits, whatever. My uncle's specialty was wild birds. Ducks, turtle doves, pheasants, you name it. Wild boars and bears were said to be some of the nastiest targets, real violent bastards. The safest way to hunt them was to lie in wait and take them by surprise before finishing them off. Even then, there's always the danger of losing your hunting dogs to an attack. Me? This is my specialty. Wakaru stuck out his pinky with a hearty laugh. I don't get what you mean. Females. I especially like them young. I'm not talking about human ones, though.